When I left Colorado, I feel like I was at a good point, but I feel like coming here, the transition from how I eat to how we work out here, is just kind of different. My decision to come here was just based off, it just means more, Coach uses that quote, it's just different here, and I really believe that. Being here is really just different from how we train to how we work, and the word extra around here. We're big on extra, because just doing what's required is not enough. When it comes to work, that's what this place is about. Like, you don't come here to do nothing else but work.
Some of our past players have been commenting on us, which is cool with me. We're not going to be provoked to comment back or to say anything ignorantly back. I wish those guys the best. One thing that I could comfortably say, some people came here that you didn't know of, and when they left, they had a name. And I'm proud of that. I'm proud that they were able to earn more than they earned here that could help their friends, family, as well as loved ones, and can help themselves. So I'm happy with that. We're still in good relationship with.
Man, fuck Jordan Seaton and any nigga that follows Jordan Seaton. I don't give a damn about Jordan anymore, to be real with you. He should be lucky I don't give him the Dylan Edwards treatment.
Something just snapped, and you could feel it the moment Shedeur Sanders decided he wasn't going to stay quiet anymore. Because this wasn't just another social media back and forth or some random off-season noise. This got personal. This got emotional. And when it comes to anything involving his father, Deion Sanders, there was never a chance Shedeur was going to let it slide. So when Jordan Seaton started making claims and pushing a narrative that didn't sit right, Shedeur didn't just respond, he went off. And the crazy part is, this didn't come out of nowhere. Tension like this builds quietly. It starts with small comments, little rumors, subtle shots that people brush off at first. But over time, those things stack up, and eventually, someone decides enough is enough. That's exactly what this felt like. Shedeur stepping in, not just as a player, but as a son defending his family's name, his father's reputation, and everything that comes with the Sanders legacy.
Wish you luck, Jordan, but the hell with you. You are replaceable.
Here's the part nobody is talking about. When you go at Deion Sanders, you're not just criticizing a coach. You're stepping into a brand, a legacy, a movement that's bigger than just football. Deion isn't just a former player. He's one of the most iconic figures the sport has ever seen. From his days dominating in the NFL to becoming one of the most talked about coaches in college football, everything he does is under a microscope. And when someone throws out accusations or claims, whether they're true or not, it spreads fast. So when Jordan Seaton's comments started making rounds, it didn't take long before people began picking sides. Some were questioning Deion. Others were defending him. And right in the middle of all that noise was Shedeur, watching it unfold. And if you know anything about him, you know he's not the type to sit back quietly when his family's involved. That's not how he's built.
You know, the comments Jordan Seaton and a slew of other former Colorado Buffs players who just showed no loyalty. But it's one thing to leave. It's another thing to trash talk Coach Prime in the program on your way out, man. Coach Prime wasted no time addressing all of this nonsense, man.
When Shedeur responded, it wasn't polished. It wasn't PR approved. It felt real. It felt raw. It felt like someone who had heard enough and decided to shut it down directly. And that's why it hit different. Because in today's sports world, where everything is calculated and filtered, moments like that stand out. They feel authentic, even if they're messy. This is where it gets dangerous. Because once things go public like this, it stops being just about the original issue. Now it's about perception. It's about how fans, media, and even other players interpret what's happening. And in a situation like this, narratives can flip quickly. One moment you're defending your family, the next moment people are debating whether you went too far.
All you people talking about, leave him alone. Man, shut up, man. We left that man alone. We barely talk about Jordan Seaton over here. And the truth is, that was some coward activity because Jordan deserved belt to ass, dog. Jordan deserved in full detail everything to the full capability that we could have tapped on that man, bruh. No pause. Yes, Diddy. That dude lied like it wasn't nothing. And I understand it's an NIL deal, But he needs to understand in a leadership position, the situation that he was in. He wasn't like any other recruits. He was in a by far different situation.
And that's exactly what started happening. Some people praised Shedeur for standing up for his father. They saw it as loyalty, as passion, as someone protecting his own. But others started questioning the approach. Was it necessary to go that hard? Should it have been handled privately? That's the balance athletes have to deal with today, and it's not easy. This is where young players usually make a mistake. They underestimate how quickly things can escalate once emotions get involved. What starts as a response can turn into a full-blown narrative that follows you for weeks, sometimes months. And for Shedeur, who is already under intense scrutiny as he transitions into the NFL spotlight, every move matters even more.
The understanding of expertise that we have from the whole staff, and it's a full staff buy-in. So it's not going to be blame on one guy that sits there that has to utilize the rest of the staff to support his special teams. That's a full-fledged buy-in.
Because let's not forget, this isn't just about college drama anymore. Shedeur is stepping into a league where everything is amplified. Every comment, every reaction, every decision gets analyzed from every angle. And when you already have the last name Sanders, that spotlight is even brighter. Now, let's zoom out for a second, because this situation connects to a bigger theme we're seeing across football right now. Players are becoming more vocal. They're not just letting narratives sit out there unanswered. They're stepping in, controlling their own story, and pushing back when they feel something is off. And while that can be powerful, it also comes with risks.
Jordan can make about, let me say it better than that. Without injuries, hopefully Jordan can make only one more year in college football and leave and depart from it. And these days, no matter how much projection in the NFL draft you're being given, it doesn't mean a player is going to leave to go to the NFL anymore, because if Jordan looks at it as no matter what year he leaves, he's going to be a projected top 5, top 10 regardless, why not stay for your senior year?
Look at what's happening across the NFL. Teams are dealing with pressure, expectations, and constant media attention. The Cleveland Browns, for example, are in the middle of a quarterback situation involving Shedeur Sanders himself and Deshaun Watson. That's already a high-pressure environment. Add in off-field narratives, and it only intensifies everything. Here's the part nobody is talking about. Moments like this can actually shape how teammates and organizations view a player, not necessarily in a negative way, but in terms of understanding who they are. Shedeur showed loyalty. He showed emotion. He showed that he's willing to stand up for what he believes in. For some teams, that's a positive. For others, they might see it as something that needs to be managed carefully. And that's where coaching and leadership come in. Because players don't exist in a vacuum. They're part of a locker room, part of a system, part of a bigger structure. And how they handle situations like this can influence how they're perceived within that structure. At the same time, you can't ignore the human side of it. This wasn't just a player responding to criticism. This was a son defending his father. And that changes everything. Because when family is involved, logic takes a back seat to emotion. And honestly, that's something most people can understand. But in the world of professional sports, understanding doesn't always equal acceptance. That's the reality. Players are expected to perform, to represent, to handle situations in a certain way, and when they step outside of that, even for understandable reasons, it becomes a conversation. This is where it gets dangerous, because the line between authenticity and controversy is very thin. Fans love real moments. They love when players show emotion and speak their truth. But at the same time, those same moments can be used against players depending on how the narrative shifts. And for Shedeur, who is already in the middle of proving himself as a quarterback, this adds another layer to his journey. He's not just being evaluated on his throws, his decision-making, or his leadership on the field. He's being evaluated on everything: his personality, his responses, his presence. Now let's talk about the legacy angle, because that's where this really gets interesting. Being the son of Deion Sanders is both a blessing and a challenge. On one hand, you have access, knowledge, and a level of understanding of the game that most players don't. On the other hand, you carry expectations that are almost impossible to meet. Every move gets compared, every performance gets analyzed, and every moment like this gets magnified. Because people aren't just watching Shedeur the player, they're watching Shedeur, the son of Deion Sanders. And that's why this response matters more than it might seem on the surface. It's part of how he's defining himself. It's part of how he's showing the world who he is, what he stands for, and how he handles pressure. This is where young players usually make a mistake. They try to separate themselves completely from their legacy, or they lean into it too much. The challenge is finding the balance, and moments like this are part of that process. Meanwhile, around the league, the stakes are only getting higher. Quarterback battles, roster changes, and shifting team dynamics are creating an environment where every decision feels bigger. The AFC in particular is loaded with talent, and teams are constantly looking for any edge they can get. And that brings us back to Shedeur, because while this situation with Jordan Seaton grabbed attention, the real story is still unfolding. How he performs, how he develops, how he handles the transition to the next level. That's what will ultimately define him. But moments like this, they add context, they add layers. They show glimpses of the person behind the player. And whether you agree with how he handled it or not, you can't deny that it revealed something real. So now the question becomes, was Shedeur right to go off like that? Or should he have taken a different approach? Because on one side, you have loyalty, authenticity, and standing up for your family. On the other side, you have professionalism, image, and long-term impact. And that's the debate. That's the tension. That's what makes this story bigger than just one moment. Because in today's sports world, it's not just about what you do on the field. It's about how you navigate everything around it. And Shedeur Sanders just gave everyone a glimpse of exactly